That's how I always start, right? I give a little snap and a point. There you go. That's how I do it. All right. How is everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night portrait class. We try and always get together Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I take you step by step of how to draw a portrait. So we've got a fun one here. Let me grab the reference before we get too much further here. Okay, there it is. Excellent. And I just want to give a warm welcome to everyone who is here, especially those who are here for the first time. We have as I kind of like setting this thing up here, we have a fantastic Facebook group and a community that is private. That's a great thing. So you can post your work and not worry about any rude people. And if we do find out that there's rude people, we get rid of them. Just like that. No questions asked. But hey, listen, yeah, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to come in here. We're going to draw this. It'll take about maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And we are live right now, so please put your comments in. I'll be happy to answer them. We've got a great group of people. I could see right away. Louise just chimed in. Look at that. She's even recovering from knee surgery. All right. Christina and Tony, Nancy and Cindy, Lynn and Ann. And I think I got called everyone out there so no one feels alone and forgotten. Because that's what none of us want. We don't want to be alone and forgotten. So, anyways. All right. I'm just a dad who draws. You know me. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. I do want to always remind everyone when we're drawing portraits, everyone can do this. The thing that separates you from being successful at drawing portraits is only one thing, and that's time. It's not talent. It's not because you haven't taken some mysterious class. It's only time invested into this craft. So the more time you spend at this, the better you're going to get. And I know that sounds so like duh, but it's true. You see, what's happening is you've got to build up these neuron connections. In your head. And those things, they don't happen overnight. They take months, maybe even years to do. But it takes many hours. So that's what we're here. We're here tonight. I'll walk you through the basics. Don't judge yourself too harshly on it. Just do the best you can. That's all we ask. And definitely post the work in our Facebook group. I'll put a link for our Facebook group in the comments when we're done. But let's get started, okay? All right. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with a sphere. Oh, look at that. Already my all right. Yeah, my pencil's not cooperating. Isn't that the weirdest thing about it? Sometimes like materials just get in the way. Okay, so I've got my sphere here. I'm going to go ahead and draw my eyeline. Eyeline goes right across there. All right, so let's see here. Okay, we got that. So eyeline is at an angle. Do you see that? We've got an angle going here, just like this. And then I'm going to get the center line, and the center line goes right down the center, of course. And let's see here. Let's get the angle right here. So it has a slight angle. We're gonna come down just like this, okay? I'm kind of light. I'm drawing this light right now because I'm going to come in with darker lines. So that's why it might be a little bit on the lighter side. Okay, so let's come down here, and from the brow line, let's kind of put a little mark here about where the nose is. Now don't go too far. Don't go too far. Maybe a little even lower. And you know, one thing you can do, and I will sometimes, I'll just kind of put like a little bit of a, just not really a line, but a bit of a shadow here. And it's a light shadow. That kind of tells me about where that is. From the from the brow line to the bottom of the nose, we take this distance and we double it. And that gives us the distance of the chin. So come down here, maybe something like this. All right. Now I'm going to hold my, I'm using this Crayola colored pencil, and you know, it's my instrument of choice, and it's been that way for many years. So I'm just going to come in here now and kind of get the, look at that, just kind of get the quick edge of that nose. And holding this from the back, I'm even going to come in here and get kind of a light line for where my eyes are going to go. And I'm going to even drop down a little bit further here and just, look at that, just put in a little bit of light shadow to about where the mouth is going to go. We're not locked into anything yet. We're just sort of just starting to place things. Okay. This is about the direction of her cheek coming in just like this. See, we want to bring this up slowly here. Okay, so her temple's on that side. If I'm going to come across here, her temple's going to be about here. And so I'm just going to kind of put the side of her face right in here. And then I can see her jaw is coming around like this, and then it's going to make a turn upwards. So you see how I'm just kind of, I'm just kind of lightly dropping in some reference points. Now, let's kind of get her hair in, but one thing I want to talk about for a second, and I'm going to use this one here, is I want to talk about my 4 tools of proportion. Those are horizontal, vertical, negative shape, and cartoon check. All right. I use all these things to make sure things are lined up. So like horizontal is making sure certain things are lining up straight up and down. That horizontal, what am I doing? Vertical, straight up and down. Negative shape. I look for negative shapes. For example, I'll show you that right now. Let's just say this is kind of where her cheek is. If I look at her hair, and I think more of her hair as being a negative shape, I could kind of like, okay, her hair is coming, like, there is her nose roughly. Her hair down here is going to come, and I'm really just kind of slightly blocking in the negative shape of her hair. All right. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of popping it in here. And then what about up here? This is her brow line. So, you know, maybe her hair is coming like this. And I'm just envisioning it as one big old shape. Okay, so that's negative shape. Cartoon check is when you look at the picture and then look at your drawing. Look at the picture, look at your drawing. And you go back and forth, and you want to make sure things are lining up. If things are looking wacky, like a cartoon, then you know you need to make some adjustments. So I use these all the time, okay? So let's come back over here to our drawing now, and let's kind of sharpen it up. Now, when we're drawing teenage girls or women or girls or whatever, you want to be careful of the nose, because the nose is possible that you can make it too big. So let's see. I'm going to start right down here with a nice curve. I'm kind of looking at the edge here. Okay. I'm careful not to get a super huge bridge going on here. All right. So I'm going to go right into her nostril. And careful, look at the wing. The wing comes around and tucks underneath, just like that. And then on the other side, you have another nostril. You can barely see it. And then I'm going to come under here. Now the picture doesn't show this, but I am going to add a little bit of value underneath her nose. Just like that. That cat just showed up. Okay, great. We got my nose in there. I'll bring it up so you can kind of get a nice picture of that. You see that? All right. Let's go ahead and come down here and build her lips. So first thing is the cuticle. No, it's not cuticle. The philtrum. Philtrum is right underneath the nose here. So I'm going to curve this around slightly. And then look at that. Look at the V. Look at the V of her lips there. So, but look where like the peaks. Like, for example, let me show you. All right, so there's my nose. I'm going to this is the peak of her lips. Okay, so ultimately it's gonna something like that. But I want to really check to see where this peak is in relationship to her nose and where this peak is. You see that? That's what we want to look for. So if I look closely at my drawing here, look at the photo, and I look closely, okay, the one is going to be right about here. And the other one is not that far away. So, okay, with this, I'm going to kind of come down and up. Next mark on the lips I want to look for is the corners, right at the very corners of her mouth. And where do those line up? So this one lines up about here. It's almost directly. See that? And then the other one, now the other one's going to be much further away. It's going to come way out, let's see now, about there. See that? And we are 20 minutes into this drawing already. Wow, where does the time fly? So I do need you to make sure that you like the video and give a comment. Do all that good stuff, okay? All right, I need that. And if you're looking for extra help, as I'm drawing the middle section of these lips, look at this. Boom, and then a little bit more wider because it's 3/4 view. You got to join the daily draw. The daily draw is my daily drawing program. We get together every day live. If you can't watch the live, you can always watch the recording. And you can find that at adadwhodraws.com. And I will also post a link in the comments when we are done. All right, continuing here. Upper lip usually has a little bit of value. So I'm going to drop in a little bit of value here. Just like that. And in the corners, I'm going to darken the corners just a little bit here. See, like with the smile, it's pulling back like this, you see? So you always want to get like a little bit darker in the corners. All right. Her top of her lip, all right, we're going to go a little just lightly flat because we can see the inside, and then we want to curve and give her that nice big pouty bottom lip there. And when I pull this in over here, I'm going to lighten my touch. So okay. And then the inside, now look at this. This needs to be darkened here. We need to add some value because her mouth she's slightly open. And then we want to make sure that the corners get that nice dark value. And then there's just a little bit of a shadow. Don't overdo this down here. A little bit of a shadow right there. Okay, let's come up here now and locate. Let's move up to her eyes and locate where I always use I use a model's tear ducts. You know, where are the tear ducts in comparison to everything else? So if I look at this now, her nose, this whole nasal area is kind of resting on the plane. See, in the plane of her cheeks. So if I look up like that plane, like let me show you on this little post-it note here. You know, if I do this, you know, here's the eyebrow. Here's the eyebrow. This is the eye. Here's the other eye. And then the nose will sit, you see, on this plane of the cheeks. You see, that's we have to remember that. So when we start thinking about where is that tear duct, let's think of that tear duct going up the plane, and where is that? You see? So if I look at my picture here, I look at her nose, I'm gonna kind of come up here, and her tear duct is right about there. You see? I'm placing it on the plane. And then we can go ahead and upper eyelid like this, and then I'm going straight, and then I'm just gonna curve around just like that. All right, where's the other tear duct? Okay, the other tear duct is hiding right behind the nose here, you see? But we're coming up straight, and then we're gonna curve around just like that. Okay, so here's a great example right now that I could use the cartoon check. Cartoon check is I'm going to kind of check the location of these to the nose and compare that to the picture. And right away, if I look at that, let's see, I think I'm a little bit low. I need to come up a little bit higher on both of those. Yep, I do. So I can't erase the Crayola. So I'm just going to raise this up, and I'm going to ignore my first lines there. And we'll see what happens. I think I'll be okay because it's like a bad tattoo. You just cover it up, right? You find a way. You get a good tattoo artist and they fix it for you. I wouldn't know because I don't have any tattoos. Tattoos got into fashion. I missed that boat, and I don't plan to get caught up to everybody. All right. I'm putting some pupils in her eyes and just leaving just the top. Look at this. I'm dropping in some pupils. There's a great show I like to watch called something like Tattoo Inc. or something like that. It's a competition for tattoo artists. I haven't seen it for a while, but I used to really I was just so impressed. I was so impressed. These great tattoo artists out there and what they're able to do. So, all right, here we go. Okay, let's go ahead then, and we're going to add a little bit of value to these irises. Just don't get it into your highlight. Leave your highlight nice and bright. Okay, look at that. Now I think those are a much better position. Didn't even have to erase, just drew right on top of it. All right, let's get that. Let's get this little, not the wrinkle, but the fold over of her upper eyelid. And we'll come over here. Yeah, last week we drew the King of England, King Charles, and boy, I'll tell you, I went to bed. I went to bed not really happy with what I did. So, you know, it happens. It happens to all of us. So down here under her eye, we're gonna keep it light. I'm just gonna kind of take the side of my pencil and add just a little bit of shadow. You see that? All right, let's come up here now and establish where her eyebrow is. Okay, I'm looking at a horizontal. Where is this little corner of her eyebrow right here start? Let's see. Right above like this nostril area. So I'm just gonna come up here. And now I'm going to also look at the negative shape or space between her eyebrow here and her eye. And this is what I mean when you are learning how to draw, trying to judge these distances. I think this is what takes many years and time of practicing those distances. And the other thing that will happen is over time, your brain won't, not only will you learn those distances, you'll pick those up, but then you'll be picking up other things as well of like value and how to hold your pencil properly, you know? Okay. Got my face in here. All right, let's go ahead and all right, there's the top part of her. This is what we call the visor. Like I kind of showed it on this little drawing right here. This little edge, right? This little part right there. You see, this is why it's important to really understand your planes. This little corner here, this is the visor. So if you want to be thinking of that sort of thing when you're drawing these lines. All right, let's come down now and get her cheek. And her cheek, look at this, is kind of coming out here. And I'm looking at the negative space right here. And then it's going to quickly turn right down here to her chin. We're going to curve this around for her chin. And then we're going to take it straight back right about here, right here at the corner of her jaw. But I want to make sure that this distance is looking good. Okay, that does look good. So I'm going to hold my pencil light and then hit this and then pull away. You see that? You see that? How it's like pushed and then light and then pushed again? Man, that just adds so much excitement. All right, let's look for her earlobe here. Where does her earlobe, using a horizontal alignment, this is her earlobe is right about lined up right with the nose right there. So let's just drop it in. Okay. And one thing about the ear is that it like you'll get look at this. You can see it happening on mine right here. You see the cheek gets shadow and then the ear is turned outward. So it picks up it's picking up light. So the my side of my cheek gets dark and then light again. And you can see that happening with her. So let's just drop in just a little bit of tone here on the side of her face. But don't get that ear. Let's keep that ear nice and bright. Okay, there's that. All right, and she has that little bit of jewelry right there. And I just kind of made a little round nugget thing. And the thing that makes jewelry is contrast. So just come in here with some really darks and some lights, and it will look like it's glittering. Okay, I'm going to come up here now. All right, I'm going to come up here. Yeah, let's see. Tony said, yeah, tattoo ink is great. It is. It is a fun show to watch. And what's that one girl's tattoo baby, or I don't know. They all have their like nicknames, you know? All right, look at this, her hair here. I'm kind of drawing the outline here. Look at what I'm just doing. I'm just using when I'm drawing hair, when I'm really thinking of like straight curves and S curves is what those are the type of strokes that I'm trying to make here. And I'm also thinking almost like a like I was sculpting this out of clay, not hair. So I like to think of my hair as having a lot of mass and volume, weight to it. All right, there's her. Look, I got carried away here for a second. That cat is starting to grab our cat starting to grab my attention. You know, speaking of cats, if you don't know me, I'm not really a cat person. And it seems like more artists are cat people, but I'm not. I've always been a dog person. And my wife Jackie says, oh, you should get another dog. And I just can't do it. Those dogs take so much. They just take a lot of training. If you're gonna have a good dog, they just take a lot of training. So I just don't want to put the time in. All right, look at that. Getting some value here, right? All right, let's get her neck in. Her neck's going to be right about here. And then underneath, look at this. Look at the shadow coming out. You see this? Let's not hold back on that shadow. And I'm going to drop in just a little bit of shadow up here. A little bit of shadow here. Not a lot, just a little bit. All right, and we got to get some of this mascara in here, right? So let's see. And I'm even going to really darken in this pupil here. There you go. Okay. All right. Let's keep going here. Let's get some more in. And when I'm putting her hair here, I'm thinking it more as blocks and not as individual strands, you see? Then once you do get your value in, then you could come in with a couple defining groups, you see? Look out. Look at this edge right here. I'm always looking for where's the contrasting edges, you see? That will help really pop this thing out. Yeah, so I would just continue to, oh, now look at this, look at this, look at the value right here compared to the value here compared to her hair value. So her hair back here must be really dark. Okay. You can do this. It just gonna take time. That's the only thing that's missing. Just need more time. So focus on the construction of the face and give yourself time. And I think that's it. That's where I'm going to end mine tonight. I think that's a good, where are we at right now? We're about 40 minutes. So let me show you this. Let me show you what I did before we started. And this is other thing that you got to do when you're drawing portraits. Is that you've got to do some preliminary drawing. So before we even went on the air, I did this one just to kind of get warmed up. And then I had a little extra time, so I did another one. I did this. This was pretty quick. And then we just did this one here. So drawing portraits, it really does help you to do it multiple times because you really start to see things that will really help. So thanks for watching, everyone. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night portrait class, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Please do subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and go out there and make your day great. All right? Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.